Hello and welcome to Mimi's Sketchbook. Today my illustration was inspired by Paul David Tripp's devotional book, New Morning Mercies, and I am reading in September 24. And this beautiful shrub is called a QUICKFIRE hydrangea. And when this picture was taken, it was the beginning of July. And it starts out this beautiful creamy white. And by the time it is now September, it has turned this absolutely gorgeous deep pink color. And it just is such an amazing, beautiful show of color. As you can see from this close-up, this flower head has two types of florets growing on it. One has 4 large petals, while the other remains a small round ball, which reminds me of pearls. The shape and the pearlescent color make this the perfect flower to put in wedding bouquets. Over the summer months, this beautiful white will slowly transition to a soft pink and then dramatically deepen to the brilliant fuchsia. And they will continue to change throughout the fall. Not only do the flowers turn color, but so do the leaves. They turn gold and burgundy. The petals of these flowers don't curl up and fall off as they mature, but they actually dry and keep their shape, and they remain just like this throughout the winter, although they will eventually deteriorate by spring. So there's no need for you to prune them back in the fall. These blooms are perfect for fresh flower arrangements, but also for dried arrangements that can be enjoyed all winter long. As a matter of fact, the flowers that I used for this painting are completely dried. After I cut them, I did put them in water, but by the end of the week, they were totally preserved. If you do this, remember to pour out the water so the stems don't rot. QUICKFIRE is a great name for this plant because it blooms quickly in the spring. The blooms are opening by the end of June. And we will be enjoying these blooms for a full month, longer than another popular hydrangea called Limelight. There are some hydrangeas that will only bloom on old wood, that is, branches from the previous season, but not the QUICKFIRE. You can cut as many bouquets as you want or prune it back as far as you need to, and it won't affect the next year's bloom because it blooms on new wood. Last year, I needed to prune back 3 feet from the top of the shrub. And this year, there are flowers blooming on every single branch. Because the entire bush gets covered with flowers, it will attract many pollinators. On a sunny day, I actually have to be careful when I'm mowing the lawn that I don't accidentally walk into a low branch because they are alive with bees and butterflies and hummingbirds. A quick-fire hydrangea bush grows about 8 feet tall and 9 feet wide. But if you don't want a shrub that large, breeders have developed a new plant called Little Quickfire, which grows about half the size. I have 3 quickfires growing in my yard. 2 are in full shade, and 1 has about 4 or 5 hours of sun a day, and they all perform beautifully. If you don't have a quick-fire hydrangea by now, you probably want one. And they can be grown almost anywhere in the United States except extremely dry and hot areas. They can be grown in plant zones 3 through 8. I can't take any credit with the success of this shrub. All I did was pop it in the ground and make sure it got water. And I occasionally, I can't say I do it every year, is put a slow release fertilizer on it in the spring. And this quick-fire hydrangea has bloomed consistently every single year for at least 20 years or more. I feel so fortunate to have discovered the quick-fire because it just keeps giving and giving and giving. Today in his devotions, Paul Tripp explains that there's not much in our relationship with God and our growth in grace for which we can take credit. And he goes on to say, all the necessary ingredients for our spiritual lives are not things that we could ever provide for ourselves. We are like babies, unable to meet our own needs and completely dependent on the love of our Father for life, sustenance, and health. And he warns us that taking credit for what only grace can produce is the height of spiritual arrogance. Without God's patience, forgiveness, rescue, provision, transformation, and deliverance of his grace, we would have no spiritual hope whatsoever. There are many attributes of the quick-fire hydrangea that I can boast about. They're one of the first plants to bloom in the spring. They're one of the longest lasting right through winter. They bloom even when you cut them back. They will grow in sun or shade, and they'll even survive a -40-degree winter. But I can't take credit for any of those things. All I did was buy it and plant it in the ground. Just as I can't take any credit for the beauty that the quick-fire hydrangea adds to my landscaping, I also can't take any credit for my relationship with the Lord. Paul Tripp goes on to say, there is no reason to boast. There is nothing for which we can take credit. All praise, honor, worship, and service go to God and God alone. He sought us, He birthed us, He sustains us, He matures us, He protects us, and He will finally deliver us. To Him be all the glory. Paul David Tripp's devotion today was so beautiful. I thought part of it just read like a beautiful prayer. And I'm sorry I couldn't read the whole thing to you. But you might consider getting this book, New Morning Mercies, and reading it along with me. So thank you for joining me today at Mimi's Sketchbook. I hope this was an encouragement to you. And if it was, could you please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and maybe even share this with someone you think might enjoy it. And in that way, YouTube will help us to share the good news. So thank you, and God bless.